Hi, welcome. On this video, as part of my series called Flipping the Script, I want to respond by way of a force-free dog trainer in the UK. Goes by name of John McGuigan, Glasgow dog trainer, with a video that really attempts to showcase bribery. And again, I talk about bribery within um, the parameters of the framework of this permissive approach, which attempts to change the focus, attempts to change the relationship with a dog that's already gained a level of control through the relationship with their owner. And again, I talk about even in terms of the role of the owner, the role of influence and control, when it comes to changing the perception of dogs the right way. And again, this is a really good or bad example, depending on how you want to see this, of what happens when you see those who advocate training as a learning-based exercise, who bribe dogs, come out into the open, okay, to attempt to showcase it. And here on this video, you're going to see this dog here lunging and pulling towards some swans, okay, in a park area over here, over in the UK. But, the reason I'm showing this video is it really illustrates just, again, if you just apply common sense and just look at what's happening here as I play this, how it does not give anybody, including you see some people walking, okay, into the scene here, doesn't give people any sort of confidence that that this individual, this dog owner, has any sense of control over this dog. As they attempt to use treats, engage in bribery, shift the focus on the dog that is expressing at this level, and even the swans themselves. Okay, I would anyone watching this would look at this, should look at this and say, this isn't a good type of interaction to be doing anywhere, even in terms of even trying to gain any sort of control over this dog. And this really goes into this thing about even when you listen to all these force-free dog trainers, how it is that they really have this type of ideological kind of playbook where they're so desperate to not bring a dog under any level of just reasonable control, okay, that it gets to a level where it actually puts people into a bad position. Because you can imagine if this dog got loose, and you'll see this here as I play this, this dog would definitely, go after these swans. It's not a good situation at all. So I want to play some of this video, but pay attention here. John McGuigan, he's talking. You'll hear him saying "good job" and affirming this mess. And again, we'll talk about the solution as well as I talk about this. What is the way forward? Okay, when you have a dog that's very much expressing its level of control towards other dogs, wildlife, as in this situation, people, you need to establish a framework of reasonable control. Okay, start to get a dog to accept, and again, this goes into the speaking the right language to how you're interacting with your dog. To start to intercept, okay, an expressed state. I talk about this as the dog starts to have a level of what I call stinking thinking, of course, towards other people, dogs, wildlife. You have to start to communicate with your dog through how you're intercepting. When I say intercepting, it means doing it in a very proactive way where a dog comes into agreement with. So you don't let a dog get to this level, or even through balanced dog trainers where they let a dog, it's called loading, like really this control is really manifesting. You'll see lots of great examples on through my Flipping the Script series where I show the problems with being reactive, being in a reactive posture. And this is beyond reactive. Okay, this is just this dog is just pulling forward hard on this long line towards towards the geese. And here's the other thing too. I talk about, and you'll see this with these trainers, and you'll see this. They try to mark certain moments, what they assume are good moments, where a dog appears calm. Okay, where a dog is like not overly focused on, say, on other dogs or wildlife in this situation, and they'll start rewarding a dog in certain moments where the dog appears better. But understand something here when you talk about I talk about the problems with that, okay, with generating truly generating moments of where a dog is starting to see you the right way. Okay, influence and control have to be in the mix. Okay, the right way. Okay, to establish those moments, to define those moments properly. Otherwise, how you want to see that in terms of this type of bribery-based ideology, or you see these trainers or see these dog owners rewarding in certain moments that they assume are better. Try to think of it like, and I put the example out like in terms of the parent-child example, where a child is mouthing off at a parent, and just out of control, and a parent just out of nowhere pulls a chocolate bar, out of their back pocket and just holds it to the side, and with again, think of it like the treats, okay, or just a momentary change of focus, and rewarding, and assuming that change of focus with the chocolate bar, say in terms of the parenting example, represents good things are happening. And so it's understands context, okay? It's about relationship. It's about your role in that. So moments that these trainers are trying to build off of are not are still within the parameters of stinking thinking, okay? Because the core ingredients I talk about, influence and control, are not active. Okay, they're not part of this. Okay, this is why people will engage in this type of idea of things, and it works off of people's emotions and feelings because you have a certain idea of the relationship, just like there's different parenting styles, but it doesn't mean that you're actually gaining any traction, okay, in terms of a better relationship. So I'll play some of this video, but pay attention to right here. Again, this is the starting point, okay, of this showcasing this. This dog is pulling hard forward towards the geese.
Good. Hold them there. Just balance your body. That's nice.
So here, right away, saying is like hold them there, balance your body, and look at the guy's feet sticking out here. He's leaned right back. Okay, he's also imagine. Okay, if this collar snaps, or you have a moment where you stumble. This is a powerful dog. This dog is leaned forward, right in towards the geese. And this trainer's saying, "Good job." Well, ask what's good about this. This is not good, okay? And so lean back, because this is the thing about this ideology. Understand it. It frames this up so that it takes everything that's would be reasonable, okay, in terms of even bring a dog under a level of control, starting to express control over this dog, starting to change this dog's focus, and tries to package it all up as though it's very unreasonable, to a level in which you're in this type of situation where you can't even do anything that goes outside the framework of the ideological rules. Okay, this is very permissive. Understand, this is where you hear these trainers, all these trainers say, even using the word no is labeled as abusive. It gets this level, this radicalized level, but then it puts people in a really bad position, because then it's like, well, what are you doing here? Like, this is not good. Continuing the poll.
Lovely.
Lovely. Well, that's not a word I would attach to any of this. Lovely.
Good. Right, so just balance your body so that when he leans back, you don't move, okay?
So what he's trying to do here is it's trying to find, this is the whole framework here. Like, it's not about influence and control being active the way, if you watch my videos, you'll see how I'm just tapping and nudging. It's not meant to be over the top or abusive. It will shift the focus of the dog back to you, okay, as control is manifesting this way. Okay, it's like speaking the right language. Here, this type of permissive ideology, this permissive approach, it's trying to package this up to try to find a moment of shifting focus, but not without those core ingredients active that way. Okay, just trying to basically, dog basically just, is being restrained to a certain level here, but trying to frame this up so that, okay, I'm going to try to present a moment where I can reward the dog better when the dog just basically says, I can't get at the geese here, But the dog's not really, the attitude or the relationship isn't changing, okay? Because you're not part of it the right way that way in terms of your role, okay? In terms of, control, aligning properly and intercepting this dog's state of mind. And so what these trainers try to do is, because understand it's not about the relationship the right way anyway. It's about how I feel about it. Your feelings are all misaligned here. Okay, this is what happens. It's like being connected, but very superficial in a way it's like anything that I deem as, bring a dog into level of control is just automatically abuse. And that's where I get this whole thing about I talk about reconciling the reactions to the relationship. This gets into a whole nother level here when a dog has a high level of control in the relationship. And so the dog's under a high level of stress anyway. And then even when you're intercepting, a dog has a higher reaction that is really going to fight and you're going to go into more conflict, then that is very, very problematic because you're not going to be able to properly reconcile those reactions to the relationship. Just think of it like a selfish child that's so out of control, and even the word no sends them off into a temper tantrum, and you're like you're so in such a position as even as a parent that you don't want confrontation, but then things are so out of control anyway that you can't even generate any sort of kind of reasonable type of dynamic that's going to assert parental authority or influence in a way that's going to even fix anything, because that's what happens. Understand, it puts you in this position where you're not going to be able to come out of it, okay, or be able to align the relationship because everything, you see things through such a high kind of filter, through an emotional filter, that you think that everything is harm, everything is abuse. Any sort of reaction is going to send you that way. So this is the same type of thing with a lot of these trainers. So what happens here is that, and this is the problem, is that dogs can appear at times okay, even certain moments can appear okay, and they're not okay. Okay, so how people get blindsided all the time, where bad things happen, suddenly kaboom, someone gets bitten, bad things happen, and you're like, where did that come from? Well, it's coming from this whole thing with appearances, okay? Not understanding that a dog can look balanced, can look well behaved, even while they're holding an incredible amount of control, because control gives comfort. Okay, once you get into that level with in terms of the relationship that way, just like a selfish child can seem well behaved at times when they're getting their own way. Okay, think it's context. You have to certain relational dynamics. Understand these trainers, they're not dialed into the relationship that way anyway. This is where you get this whole blame shifting part of the problem, where there must be something wrong with the dog now. Couldn't possibly be the approach or the fact that these trainers aren't putting even certain reactions or control itself in the proper context. Okay, it's all appearance driven. It's all emotional, all emotion driven.
Yeah, lovely. Nice. Nice. I know, pup. Good hold them there. Well done, son. Now hunker down now.
Like, well done. Like, right? It's like there's nothing being generated here to actually intercept, this control's manifesting the right way at all. Okay, and now, you got, the dog's basically saying, well, I couldn't get, but still some level of, and understand when you open this up this way, it still gives the dog a level of fulfillment. The dog's still expressing, so this moment of kind of disconnection here doesn't mean you're fixing anything at all. You're just restraining this dog.
Lovely, just pet him there. That's lovely. Slow that down.
And patting on the dog, right? Emotional connection. Understand that, dogs are social animals. Understand it's depth of relationship. So your emotions do play a key role here, and they turn into weakness. Understand that it empowers the dog. It's just emotionally driven. So understand the aspects of, of how things appear, or how dogs can appear calm in certain moments. Don't be deceived. That's why, you get this type of, even with some like pit bulls, I call it a flashover, where it's like they'll go from 0 to 100 so fast, and people get blindsided. But the problem is you haven't fixed the relationship at all. Okay, so it's the dog because the dog's even fueling off through the relationship to the owner. Okay, being empowered that way through their emotional connection.
Down, John.
See, that's all he's doing is like the trainer. He's looking for a baseline, right? Well, the dog disconnect, well, not really at all. By coming back, oh, we're gonna pet the dog. The dog seems better in this state. No, okay. You see, this is the problem with this whole thing about, I talk about influence and control. They have to be active, okay? They have to be what is in play when it comes to actually generating the right state of mind, okay? If they're not, then the door is completely wide open to, dog holding control within the relationship itself. Okay, you have to build off those moments. Those core ingredients, they have to come in the right way in this type of interplay. Okay, it has to shift the focus the right way, intercepting, versus like holding the chocolate bar out to the side. Okay, that's the problem here.
Nice and soft. That's lovely.
Now you're gonna see a moment here, see, with people walking up.
Good. Relax your arm.
See now, see that the Swan's more active, right? Starting to go here a little bit.
Nice, and keep petting him.
Keep petting. See, movement. See the dog's back legs here. You pay attention to dog's about to launch off here again.
Hold up.
See that? But no idea, right? Because it's not dialed in that way. Just that boom, like, right? So, prey drive going in. But understand, I talk about the issue about prey drive, and this is where some of these trainers get in. We can't fix any of that. No, everything filters through relationally. Okay, it doesn't matter. Right? So to this level of which the controls manifest in this way, because this owner's faded out of the relationship. But you can imagine this launching out, there's all sorts of bad stuff that can happen here. I mean, you see the intensity of this dog. You imagine this again. Either the person, gets pulled down and the dog gets loose that way, or the collar snaps and breaks. And this isn't healthy anyway. Some of these understand that. And we look at this, these trainers like McGuigan and others will go on about certain collars and physical harm on the dog and the tightness of the. Well, what's happening here? And this dog is launching out, putting all that force out onto the collar, the trachea of the dog, right? It's total hypocrisy, right? Because the control issue about control manifesting, that's physical itself. It's not pulling hard. So why aren't they talking about that? Okay, so you see all the hypocrisy here in this ideology, right? They pick and choose what they want to ignore or what they want to try to highlight, but then it's out of context anyway. So this dog's launching off here again.
That's nice. Just stand up.
Now look at here, right? There's people walking up, looking at this mess, right? This bribery-based permissive mess, and what do you think that any normal person walking up here would be thinking about this, like so-called training? I'd be thinking this dog could tear these swans to pieces. I would be calling the local bylaw officer enforcement. I'd be saying this so-called trainers out here, this don't look good. Bad things can happen. And would you trust walking by this dog anyway? I'd be like, is this dog gonna bite me? Like that's the thing about this. This is so crazy. Like I encourage people, and people buy into this stuff, but this isn't good.
Sorry, folks.
Sorry, he's not sorry. He's not sorry. This is a mess.
Good.
Good. So all to say, okay. I mean, I would really encourage people to think about when you just look at this. There's a way, understand something here. There's a way forward, the right way. This isn't it. Okay. You just look at this dog, you get these powerful dogs. This is like, I look at this like harassment of wildlife. Okay. I mean, I think the swans are having a peaceful time floating around here in this pond. Absolutely not. Okay. The dog lunging. So, but this is that permissive bribery-based idea of things. Takes everything out of context. In their rule book, and you'll see this a lot, can't even say the word no. It's like everything's on, but this dog's pulling hard. And you talk about physical force against the collars, dog lunging out like that. And these trainers go on all day long, talk about certain collars. They're ridiculous, right? Because it's about them. Okay, it's not about looking at things and everything being put in the proper context here. But again, if you have this type of issue, check out my website. I put lots of videos that show it in terms of being proactive, the role of influence and control, and to a level where, you're taking the stress off the dog as well. I mean, this is not a healthy dynamic. This is not a healthy relationship. This is not a healthy way to connect with the dog. And then all the bad stuff that can happen on top of that. So lots of great information. Check out my website. Thanks for watching.